Hello people of BookTube, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today, I'm going to be talking about Underworld by Meg Cabot, and this is book 2 in the Abandoned trilogy. So, I thought this was a nice addition to the trilogy. We pick up pretty much right where we left off with the last book, which I liked. I enjoyed seeing more of the Underworld. I enjoyed the new characters we were introduced to in this book, and I just liked how things were expanded. But, unfortunately, I feel there's not too much more than that I can say without risking spoilers. So, without further ado, I'm just going to go right into a spoilery section. So, for anyone who has been watching my videos for a while, probably knows lack of communication is a bit of a peeve to me. I do feel like John and Pierce really need to work on their communication. You get all those times where Pierce means one thing and John thinks she means another, and just he gets upset, which gets her upset, and then just I feel that was rinsed and repeated a few times too many for my liking. Which, okay, yes, Pierce is a 17-year-old. John, despite being really more than 19, his maturity level isn't that much better than a 19-year-old. I know at that age, both those ages, I wasn't the best at communication either. That is something that grows with a relationship the longer you are together. And just, I think they're a cute couple. I really do like them as a couple, but I feel as a couple, from an adult's point of view, just, I know this is from an adult's point of view, just, for a couple that's getting as serious as they are, their communication is very poor. And I am saying this as a 29-year-old. I know my thoughts as a 29-year-old are very much different than I was when I was a young adult. And with that knowledge in the back of my head while reading this, I didn't let it bother me too much. It's like a mild peeve, but not enough for me to want to stop reading, not enough for me to want to give up on the series. Because I do like this book. I enjoy the series thus far. Just the, very small adult part of my brain is just like, oh my god, communicate. Clarify what you guys mean. Oh my god, talk. But I do enjoy how very quickly these miscommunications of theirs are resolved and how they move past them. I will give them that. Though John really does need to start giving Pierce a little more credit. The lying about the food and the Underworld part, that peeved me a bit too, because it's like, I understand where you're coming from. You definitely handled it very poorly, but I understand. But you expect her to like take being whisked off to the Underworld for the rest of her life, like in stride like that? You don't expect her to be upset and want to go see her mother to explain things? Just, he definitely handled things poorly. I understand, it's the heat of the moment. He was acting on impulse. He wants to keep Pierce safe from the Furies. So, I can get logic. I can get his logic. It just, he didn't handle it as well as he should have. And can I just say, and honestly that was probably my two technically, lack of communication and the lying. Those are my two biggest complaints. And also, can I just say, my line of thought when Pierce discovered that John killed his father in a mutiny, my line of thought pretty much synced up to Pierce's. Like, okay, murdering someone is bad, murdering your parent is bad, but I definitely expected his crime to become Lord of the Underworld to be so much worse. Like, naturally it couldn't have been too bad, like Pierce was thinking, because why reward someone who did bad things with power like John has? But killing one man, even if it was your father, it was in self-defense. His father did throw the first blowhorn at John. And also, the man in question, his father, was gonna do something really horrible that put the whole ship at risk. So, does that make what he did really that bad in the grand scheme of things? Like, someone else tell me. Please tell me I'm not alone in that thinking. Murder is bad, but in some cases, I can't totally fault people for that. Like, especially since this isn't the first bad thing that John's father has done. John has stated that he wasn't the best of person even before all this. So it's like, did he really do such a bad thing? But I do like how Pierce was understanding with all that. Once again, Alex really, I think I mentioned this in my first review, Alex really needs to get rid of this chip he has on his shoulder. I understand he hasn't had the best life. He has reason to complain about the cards he was given. But he is such a little brat. Just things he was saying to Pierce, the things he was getting angry at her about. Like, Pierce doesn't know the whole situation with her mom, his dad, what happened to get Uncle Chris put in jail. She doesn't know, no one told her, so how the hell is she supposed to know if no one tells her? And then Alex getting all mad and pissy, being like, you don't understand, you don't understand. Then help her understand. How can she understand if she doesn't have all the info? And also, the fact that Pierce and her mom haven't been there while Alex was going through this stuff. Yeah, that sucks, that's horrible, but that's not Pierce's fault. If he wanted to get upset over someone for that, he should be upset at Pierce's mom. It's not as if Pierce could just on a whim go down to the island and see what's up. It was Pierce's mom who agreed, okay, we won't have anything to do with my side of the family. And okay, well, now that I need to get away and Pierce needs a new start, now we'll return home and pretend nothing happened. That's all on Pierce's mom, not on Pierce. Pierce is trying. She is trying. And honestly, in Pierce's case, being there late is better than never being there. And just, yeah, Alex is a brat and he needs to get over himself. Everything involving the Rectors was definitely darker than I anticipated it being. Just the whole situation with Seth and his family, them being wreckers back in the day and now having to do with drugs, still having something to do with drugs, even after all the years after Chris spent in jail. And I gotta say, that just, finding out why Uncle Chris went to jail was sad. Just, this poor man got swept up into this situation. Yeah, drugs are bad, but I felt like his crime, given he had no past history, it was non-violent, no one got hurt, definitely felt like it was a little worse than it should have been. And I just can't wrap my head around the fact that he didn't say anything. He didn't say who he was involved with, anyone who was in on it with him. The fact that he kept his mouth shut for as long as he did. I can't wrap my head around that. Honestly, I would hope if I was in that kind of situation, I would very strongly consider squealing, because it's like, I'm not going down on this on my own. But then again, he probably also kept his mouth shut because Seth's family is very influential. They have money. They can probably pay people off and hire the best lawyers money can buy and get themselves out of any trouble. And then he'd have to deal with the knowledge that he spilled the beans on top of being a felon. He is considered a felon, right? I can't remember. I am bad with legal jargon. But yeah, I can definitely understand why he didn't want to say anything, because that would just make him look even worse. Like he was falsely accusing someone. So, you know, I can understand, I guess, in hindsight, talking that out. I definitely also understand him not wanting anything to do with Seth's family. Like what John and Frank and everyone was trying to tell him. You don't want Rector money. You don't want that money from them. That is dirty money. That is blood money. He doesn't want anything to do with them. Wants to cut himself from them, which I wholeheartedly respect. I can understand Alex hasn't had the best upbringing. Not exactly well off, but this is one of the very few cases I would think that pride should definitely come before anything. Especially since it's not as if they're starving and on the streets. Things are definitely not at a point where you should sink as low to ask one of them for handouts. And just, not gonna talk too much about them, but I do love the new characters we got in this book. Frank, Henry, and all of them. They are just great. I greatly enjoyed them. I greatly enjoyed this extra layer to the Underworld we got. Seeing more of the Underworld and just the people who help run it behind the scenes. Greatly enjoy that. It's nice knowing that John wasn't completely alone through all this. It's also great kind of learning more about John's power, like beyond coming to the world of the living, back to the world of the dead, and so forth. Him with his strength, and just sorting the dead. It's great to see what else he can do, as well as some of the potential consequences for what he does as well. Oh, and just backtracking to Alex, it doesn't look like John is the one who brought him back from the dead. So, is Pierce able to do that? Since she was the one who wanted it so bad, is she able to, like, share some of John's power in that aspect? And if so, will this power have the same level of consequence that John's does, bringing someone back? Now, he brought back some of his crewmates from the Liberty, and as a result, they are now tied to the Underworld. They have to help him and all that. So is Alex going to be in the same boat, so to speak? No pun intended. And I'm just really curious to see him and Kayla's response to the Underworld and just all this info they're about to have dumped onto them. Like, that is going to be entertaining, especially given how stubborn Alex is. And with all the Furies and everything on the island, the police getting involved, how is Liz going to play into things? How is Seth and his family going to be exposed? Because I can't imagine all this is going to go on without them being exposed in some way, since some of them legit killed Alex. And also, I just love how Pierce isn't someone on the sidelines. Like, she has discovered that the Persephone diamond can help destroy the Furies, which is awesome. It's nice that this piece of jewelry has more of a purpose than to warn her that Furies are around. And now her and John can work together to destroy them. And I just love that. I love the fact that it's going to be something both of them can potentially do together. And just how this bit of information is such a game changer. Like, Pierce has an opportunity to be so much safer now that they have a way they can destroy Furies and not just kill their hosts. And just, yeah, I thought this is a neat addition to the series, and I'm so excited to see how it concludes in the next book, the final book. Just, it's gonna be awesome. I'm greatly looking forward to it, even with the one or two nitpicks I had with this. Hopefully now, in the next book, now that some of this is behind them, they can work on that communication, not have as bad, like, misunderstandings as they do. Though, based on their track record, if they do, it does seem like they'll resolve them pretty damn quickly, which I'm fine with. I'm cool with that. So, yeah. Without further ado, for anyone still watching, what'd you think? Did you enjoy this addition to the series? Did you not? Are there parts that I didn't talk about that you want to talk about? Let me know. Let's get a discussion going. And yeah, that's it for this video, and I hope to see you guys next time.